Self-improvement is a $40 billion industry, and this is not an accident. The people who control the world are the reason there is so much entertainment. And this is to distract us, because their aim is to control the world, and they cannot do that if you're focused on worshipping Allah alone. But after indulging in these distractions, there's an innate part of us which wants us to do something more than just wasting time and playing video games. And that's where people like Iman Gadzi and these self-help influencers pop up. And so you start consuming more of their content and their message makes sense to you. They tell you to hit the gym and start a business. This is like what you've been searching for. And so you get more advanced and you buy books like these. And you read them and your life completely changes. You think you escaped these distractions, but you don't realize this was just part 2 of their plan to distract you. And self-help is an even worse distraction than the previous level because you don't even realize it is one. And not only that, but these influencers and books like these sell you 4 main beliefs which completely contradict Islam. Number 1, cause and effect. If I drop this pen, it will hit the ground. But then Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown into the fire. So why didn't he get burned? Because the effect does not happen unless Allah wills for it to happen. But self-help tells you otherwise. It tells you that if you start this business, you'll become a millionaire in the next 3 years. And that if you go to the gym, you'll have your dream physique. But these things cannot happen if Allah does not will for it to happen. And so this leads to number 2, self-sufficiency. If I don't have enough money, I'll just work harder. If I don't have my dream physique, I'll just train more. But shouldn't you ask Al-Razzaq to provide you with money? And shouldn't you ask Al-Qawi to provide you with health? Self-help eliminates the idea of seeking help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a crucial part of Islam. Because as the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, dua is worship. You yourself say this 17 times a day in every single prayer. It is you alone who we ask for help in Surah Al-Fatiha. And when you're self-sufficient in this way, you do not submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is what the word Islam actually means. And so not submitting to Allah and not making dua, they both go hand in hand. Number 3, self-love. You go to the gym because, let's be honest, you desire attraction from women and want respect from men. And when you work towards fulfilling these desires, which is by going to the gym, and desires similar to it, it's called self-love. Even though what it actually is following your desires. And when your desires start to dictate your life, then it becomes worshipping your desires. And since the 2 previous beliefs, cause and effect and self-sufficiency, eliminated the idea of God, this one introduces a new God. Because if you're not going to be a slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're going to be a slave to something. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, have you seen those who have taken their own desires as their God? Their desires dictate how they live life. They want money, and so they work towards getting money. And even though it seems productive, it's actually just worshipping your new God. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in a hadith, hellfire is surrounded by desires, while Jannah is surrounded by hardship. And later in the video, I'll tell you how you can use these desires to get good deeds and not bad deeds. Number 4, miscellaneous. So far you've eliminated the idea of God twice and you have introduced a new one, but you still identify as a Muslim. So these self-help influencers and books, they sell you tiny little beliefs which contradict what Allah has commanded us to do. And so for example, like they'll tell you to date before marriage. Like how can you marry someone you don't even know? And because most Muslims are ignorant about Islam, this will start to make sense, even though Allah is the one who created you. So he knows the wisdom behind what he has commanded us to do. And then they tell you, how are you going to buy a house without using interest? And they tell you music actually makes you work harder and gain more muscles when you hit the gym. But all of these things contradict Islam. And so in your subconscious mind, Islam doesn't make sense anymore. Islam is a bit backwards. Islam has to change. And this stays in your subconscious mind. But eventually you'll have to confront it. And this can lead to KUFR. The substitution. Honestly, there isn't any. Because you now or on self-help because you want dunya, but Muslims want Jannah. And so if you search for videos on Muslims, their aim won't be to get dunya, their aim will be to get Jannah. So you need to change your goal from dunya to Jannah, from instant gratification to delayed gratification, which is going to be way better, by the way. And going to the gym and starting a business and all of these things which you did on self-help, you won't do them for the sake of doing them. You'll do them for the sake of Allah. For example, starting a business because you don't just want the money, but you want to be able to give charity, you want to be able to have a family. And so once you have changed your goal from dunya to akhirah, I can now recommend you something. And I'll just make it very simple and recommend you one channel. It's called AMAU. They have a program, but you don't even need to subscribe to their program. Their channel itself has like some very good content. And so like There are so many channels, by the way. If you know more channels, just leave them in the comments for others to benefit from. If you benefited from this video, subscribe, like. Also, if you have a phone addiction, join the Discord, linked in the description. And I'll be telling you how to quit your phone and what I'm currently doing to quit my screen addiction. And in the future, I'll be using this formula of how to quit my phone addiction and testing out on people before releasing a video on it. So if you want to be the one who gets early access, join the Discord and like contribute to the experiment, inshallah. And hopefully it will be successful. See you in the next one, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.